Stop everything, right now, because what I'm about to tell you in the next few seconds cannot be undone. Once you hear it, you won't be able to unsee it. And I need you to stay with me, because the window I'm about to describe is closing, and it is closing tonight. You stayed silent while they replaced you. You watched. You kept your peace. You prayed in rooms where no one came to check on you, in corners where no one asked how you were really doing. And the whole time, that person was smiling right at your face while sharpening the blade behind your back. You called them friend. You called them brother. You called them pastor, mentor, partner, and they took your seat. They took the seat that was anointed for you, the seat at the table where your name was supposed to be called, where your inheritance was supposed to land, and they sat down in it like it was always theirs. And I want you to know that I see you, because I know what it feels like to watch the blessing pass through every pair of hands except yours. It's never hit your hands. Everybody else's, but not yours. You've watched people who didn't pray half what you prayed walk into the very thing you fasted for. And the numbers in your account don't lie. The silence from the people who were supposed to be in your corner doesn't lie. You've sent messages. You've cried out in comment sections, in prayer lines, in the quiet of 3 a.m. And the response you got back was silence. That silence has a name, and it has been sitting on your chest for longer than you should have had to carry it. You are more than tired. That's not an exaggeration. You are so exhausted you can barely breathe. There are mornings you wake up and the weight of how long you've been waiting is the first thing that hits you. The calling that was spoken over you years ago is still on hold. The thing that was promised, through a word, through a dream, through a knowing so deep it has no language, has not arrived. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice keeps saying, maybe tomorrow morning it will finally be too late. Maybe the window is already shut. Maybe the traitor already won. But the traitor didn't calculate one thing. And today, right now, in this exact moment, that oversight has consequences the heavens themselves chose to execute. You did not find this video by accident. You were not served this by some algorithm that happened to guess right. Michael sent you here. The Archangel who does not move unless the verdict has already been rendered in the heavenly court. He sent you here, in this window, at this exact moment, because what is about to happen to the one who took your place is not a coincidence. It is a conclusion. And I'll tell you something right now. What protects you in this window isn't one more loose decree spoken into the air. There is a complete path waiting for you in the first comment down below. Hold on to that. I'll come back to it before this is over. If you are here and you know, not hope, not wish, but know, that what I just described is your story, I want you to do something right now. Hit that like button. That is not a gesture for the algorithm. That is your prophetic yes. That is your agreement with the intervention that Michael is about to execute on your behalf. That is the silent decree that says, I align. I receive. I am ready for clarity in the next 72 hours. Seal it. Hit it now. Because this is not a coincidence. The chosen one does not drift into appointed moments. The chosen is sent now. There is something about justice that nobody in the pew tells you. Justice without discernment is just anger looking for a direction to explode. And anger without direction has never recovered a stolen inheritance. It has only given the enemy more evidence to use. What the chosen one needs in this moment is not more warfare. It is wisdom that moves before the trap is set, not after. There is a path I put together called the Solomon Code. 3 movements designed for this exact type of season. First, diagnosing the gaps in your house that have been quietly draining your resources, your peace, and your ability to hear clearly. Second, quieting the soul that has been running on permanent alert, so you can sleep without dread and wake up with actual clarity. Third, deciding, not from despair, not from exhaustion, not from the wound of what was taken, but from discernment anchored in Proverbs, the way Solomon moved when every enemy expected him to collapse. That path is waiting for you in the first comment pinned below this video. Go there after we finish. David was anointed king. That is not a metaphor. The oil was poured, the word was spoken, the chosen one was named. And then Saul, the usurper who had already been rejected by God, spent years hunting him through caves and wilderness. David did not fight back. He cut Saul's robe in a cave when he could have cut his throat, and he walked away. Everyone around David thought that silence was defeat. They thought that restraint was weakness. They did not understand that David's silence was not the absence of power. It was the accumulation of it. The verdict had already been rendered. David simply had not yet walked into the room where it would be read aloud. Your silence has been the same. The chosen one who does not throw the first stone does not do so out of fear. They do so because they already know how this ends. And that is what I need you to sit with right now. Your silence in the face of the traitor was not weakness. It was the most powerful spiritual move you ever made, and you made it without knowing its weight. Because Michael does not step into a conflict when the enemy is losing. He steps in when the enemy has almost won. When the usurper is already seated. When the window looks like it is one morning away from being sealed shut. That is when the Archangel moves, because that is when the verdict is uncontestable. That is when every witness in every realm can see exactly who was obedient and who was not. The traitor positioned himself not for a lasting victory, but for a public fall. And the higher the seat he took, the louder the sound when he loses it. You were not being overlooked. You were being prepared. The waiting room of the chosen one is called the silence before the verdict. Now I want to give you something concrete you can do tonight, before tomorrow morning arrives. This is called the reverse tribunal, and it comes from 3 anchors in Scripture. The first is Isaiah 54:17 in the King James. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Read it once, out loud, slowly, with your name in the blank where thee stands. You are not petitioning, you are reading a verdict that has already been rendered. The second step, go silent for 30 seconds immediately after. No music, no prayer, no words. This is the moment the heavens record your agreement. Do not fill it. The third step is from Proverbs 17:28 in the ESV. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. Speak this as your declaration of strategy, that the discernment you move with from this point forward will outpace every trap the traitor laid. The fourth step, write down one name, not in anger, just the name. Place it before the Lord and say, I release the weight of this to the court that does not sleep. Do not pray against them. Do not curse. Release. The fifth step comes from Psalm 4:8 in the King James. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Speak it over your bed tonight. Lay down as the chosen one who already knows the verdict, not as someone still waiting to see if they lost. That is your protocol for tonight. 5 steps, 30 minutes or less. And if just that one movement already shifted something in you, imagine the complete path. It is waiting for you in the pinned comment below. But let me show you what comes next. Here is the thing about a key. A key is not the same as a house. You can have the most powerful key ever forged, and if there are gaps in the walls of the house it opens, every enemy who wants in will find a way in before you finish turning the lock. What I just gave you is a key. What the chosen one needs now is the house, a system, not a scattered collection of individual spiritual moves. Because here is what no one in your life ever sat you down to say plainly. Everything you tried did not fail because you had no faith. Everything you tried failed because isolated advice was never designed to hold against a coordinated attack. A single decree is not a system. A single night of prayer is not a system. The traitor who replaced you was not operating from one move. He was operating from a pattern. And pattern defeats single moves every time. Your era of letting the traitor dictate your rhythm, your sleep, your decisions, the pace at which your calling is delayed. That era is over. Not because I'm telling you it is, because Michael's arrival at this moment in the narrative of your life is the signal that the court has already moved. The question is whether you receive the path that matches the verdict. The Solomon Code is that path. 3 movements. Diagnose the gaps, quiet the soul, decide from discernment. Built for the chosen one who is not just fighting a spiritual war, but building a house that the next traitor cannot enter. There is a guided audio inside it anchored to Psalm 4:8, 10 minutes long, designed to end the pattern of lying awake rehearsing what was taken from you. There are 7 morning declarations that wire your first moments of the day to the identity of the chosen, not to the anxiety of someone still waiting to be recognized. Tomorrow morning does not have to arrive the way the enemy arranged it. But you have to move tonight. The path is in the first comment pinned below this video. It is there right now. Go find it. Before I close, I want you to do one more thing. In the comments below, I want you to write the name of your city and your state. Then write this: I know who I am. That is not a sentiment. That is a decree. You are joining an army of chosen ones who are reading the same verdict across this country tonight. People who were replaced, overlooked, betrayed, and silenced, who are now standing in agreement that the window has not closed, that the chosen one does not lose their seat permanently. It is returned. If you know someone who needs to hear this tonight, someone who is sitting in that exhaustion, someone who has been waiting so long they stopped telling people about it, share this video with them. You may be the Michael in their story. You may be the one sent. The path in the pinned comment is still there. It will be there tomorrow. But I want to tell you something as someone who has walked alongside people in this exact season for a long time. The ones who waited until everything felt perfectly settled before they moved. They kept waiting. The ones who took one small step from the place of exhaustion, even when they could barely breathe. They are the ones who woke up in a different room. You do not have to feel ready. The chosen one rarely does. The step is the readiness. Go to that first comment. Everything you need for tonight is already there. May the wisdom from above be the ground beneath your feet today. May your soul find the rest it has been denied for too long. May tomorrow morning open to the chosen one, not to the traitor. Until we meet again.